Hello everyone, you're welcome to my very messy Rosemary's kitchen today. We've got stuff all over the place. We are making my Christmas cake. And I can hear some of you say, what? It's 10 weeks. We've got 10 weeks yet to Christmas, but a Christmas cake, we have to make it at least 6 to 8 weeks before Christmas because we have to feed the Christmas cake with delicious brandy every week until the brandy soaks into the fruit, etc, etc. All right, so I've done a little bit of this. So in the bowl there, can you see that? In the bowl we've got butter and brown sugar, which has been creamed thoroughly. Creamed means beaten together until it's nice and smooth and creamy. Can you see? Now I'm going to add to that, in this cup here is some hot water, very, very hot water, and my big spoon has been sort of sitting in there. This spoon is the equivalent to a tablespoon, a measured tablespoon, and this is what I always used to use years ago. I'm going to put some molasses, black treacle we know it as in England, black molasses, call it what you like, and I'm going to put one really, I might spill over the edge just because I just love this stuff. Look, already, I love it. I can use it anywhere, anytime. Of course, now I've got sticky fingers. We're going to put the molasses into this sugar and butter. I'm going to scrape it in, get it as much off the spoon as I possibly can. If you make sure that your spoon is nice and hot, the molasses will come off it nice and easily, and sort of, because as you can see, there's hardly any left on there. Put that back there, and going to put that there. Let's take this out of the way now because I don't need that anymore. We're going to put that in the mixer. This is my Kenwood, my very favourite mixer. Yes, we're going to make a noise for all of about 30 seconds when I beat it. That's it, looking good. So I've beaten that. Can you see that, Carolyn? Do I need to lift that a little bit? There, look, I've beaten it. Now it's sort of, that's sugar, brown sugar, butter, good butter, and I'm looking for the lid on this. I like to put everything away. What I like to do when I'm baking is I like to put all of my ingredients on this black board here. Then as I'm working, usually I would put them all away so I know I've not missed anything. Right, in here we have, this is the flour, 8 ounces. If you want this recipe, just email us, rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com, we'll send you the recipe. So there's some allspice in here, there's a little bit of salt, baking powder, stuff like that. It all in there, and I've mixed it really well together, and also a little bit of gravy browning. For those of you who don't know what gravy browning is, gravy powder that you make dark gravy with. So put a little bit of that in there as well. It makes a huge difference at the end of the day. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little flour and a little egg into here. I'm going to beat between each, go around, and so that's a good spoon of that, and a little of that. There we go, lovely. I'm going to just scrape down the edges of the bowl, like so, and I think what we'll do is I'm going to beat this. I'm going to beat it, probably I'll maybe get another 2 or 3 beatings out of this, and so we're going to pause for a minute while I make all this noise, and we'll be right back. So we've beaten this. It took 3 beatings.
And it lives to tell the
and
story.
It lives to tell the story, my sister says. So it took 3 beatings with the egg and the flour. And between each time you beat it, you really do have to look at me. I'm making sure I've got every teeny little bit here out. So. Okay, so So between each beating, you've got to make sure that you do scrape down the sides, so that when you're beating it, you get every, you know, every little bit and piece in there. So this has been, can you see that? Right there, like that. And so it's sort of looks much lighter and creamier. And now you've done all the beating to this cake that you need to do, and now from now on we have to treat the cake very gently. We're not going to beat it any longer. We're going to give it a reprieve.
It's had its punishment.
It's had its punishment. There. Alright, so then now in here, in this little basin here, I have my fruit, and in there I've got dried fruit. And it doesn't look, I don't know if you'll see this, but it doesn't look like dried fruit anymore, because I've soaked this fruit for 2 days in hot water and brandy, which is why the brandy bottle is sitting right here. I've soaked it, and before I make fruit cakes, before I use dried fruit in most anything at all, I like to soak the fruit, and it's called plumping the fruit. It plumps it up. So we've got sultanas and raisins in there, and we've got glacé cherries in here. Now the glacé cherries, I'll move that brandy out of the way a little bit. The glacé cherries, I always use more than I put in the recipe. You can use as many of these as you like. And go, come on.
Oh, but I think you ought to tell the viewers about the sultana smuggling.
It's true, we did have to smuggle the sultanas. My sister smuggled the sultanas. I'm going to lift this out. Here, put that there. Well, here's what happened with the sultanas, because I live in America, which I'm sure most of you know. And while I'm talking to you, I'm going to sprinkle these cherries with a little flour, because it stops the cherries from sinking to the bottom. And where am I? There. I'm going to use that spoon because it's a dry spoon. So in the States, they don't know what is it?
Sultana.
They don't know what a sultana is. You can't get them here. Just dusting these, just slightly with a little flour. Oh, look at that, a helper, thank you. I'm just going to leave that lay down there a little bit. I'm going to just, so with a wooden spoon, just coat that a little bit. It just stops the, and the reason I'm doing it this way is because if you take your glacé cherries out of the bag, they're in syrup. We've actually washed these and washed the syrup off, and then just coat them in. I'm going to put a little bit more flour in here. There. Just coat the cherries. Just try and get them, you know, make sure they're all sort of got a bit of flour in them like that. And it just helps to stop them sinking to the bottom. There we go. Okay, you don't have to rinse your cherries. You can just put them in straight as you like. But this is what we are now going to do. We are going to very slowly and very gently, I'm going to put a spoon of this fruit. You might think this is a lot of fruit. I'm looking at it thinking this is an awful lot of fruit here. Wooden spoon. We're going to stir it in. But we're going to try and do it fairly gently, because we've beaten a lot of air into this cake, remember, and we do not want to take it out. So I'm going to put little cherries and little dried fruit. And can you see this looking delicious? And the secret is to mix the fruit all together really well. And I think it's something like 12 ounces of raisins and 12 ounces of sultanas. And the smuggling part comes in that in England you can get sultanas and currants and raisins. Here in the States, unless you go to Amazon and you pay an absolute fortune, you cannot get sultanas or currants for that matter. They're all dried fruits. in England we wouldn't be without them, right, Madeline?
That's absolutely right.
I mean, the idea of not being able to buy them is amazing to us. So I said to my sister, I'll take as many packets of sultanas. See this? I'll take as many packets of sultanas as you can get in your suitcase. So she smuggled them in. Now, here's the truth of it. We don't want somebody at customs to be looking at this and saying, oh, really? Because although we're talking about smuggling them in, she did declare them, and they let her bring them through. All of the cherries are in now. Let's move this out of the way.
And let me tell you this, my suitcase weighed so much. It was so overweight, I had to buy another suitcase to spread the load. It was that bad.
Because she brought me trifle sponges and sultanas, and what else did you bring me?
Tin marrow fat peas.
Marrow fat peas, which are my favourite.
And cup of soup.
Cup of soups, which you can't get here because I like
asparagus with croutons.
Creamy asparagus with croutons, which you also can't get in the States. Unless, of course, again, you go to Amazon. And I love Amazon. I'm an Amazon favourite person. I'm sure I must be because I spend probably more than anybody else here. But, all right, so we can put a little bit more of this fruit in, but not quite. Oh, well.
Oh, you wanted to try them, did you?
Oh, here, take one out. Pinch one.
Thank you.
You probably got a raisin. You know what raisins are like.
Yes.
Are they good?
I wanted to see what they tasted with the brandy.
Well, you can't.
You can't taste it at all?
No, you can't unless.
What's that?
You know, you can. Well, don't. Plus, trust me. Trust me. It's coming. You know. I like. You can. There is, to me. It depends on your taste buds, but to me there is somewhat of a flavour, and it depends how much brandy you put into the water, the hot water, that when you pour the stuff over. All right, this is, don't know if you can see that now. It's thick with fruit, and I'm going to just do that. Can you see that?
Yeah.
And we're hoping that the cherries have gone in evenly. Now, here is the tradition with a Victorian Christmas cake, and with a Christmas pudding too. A Victorian Christmas pudding. Everybody who's in the house has to stir the pudding, or the cake in this case, and everybody has a wish. Whether your wish comes true is a whole other thing. Madeline, would you like to stir the cake?
Yes, please.
And you make a wish. There we go. I didn't know she was having a funny turn then, or she was thinking about making the wish.
Wonderful.
And Carolyn, I know you're one-handed doing this. Here, my sister's taking. My sister's taking the camera.
Let's hope my eyes don't
Carolyn,
go funny now.
Make your wish.
Oh, it feels incredible.
I never thought to. Did we see where? Good.
Now, yes, it's just a different experience being over here. It's lighter than actually what I was expecting.
Okay.
Very interesting.
And now I shall make my wish. But I called my daughter this morning and I said, I'm making the cake, so give me your wish. So I have to make a wish for my daughter because she's here in my heart, even though she's not here in my house. I have to make a wish for my grandson, my 4-year-old Reese, because he's here in my heart. And I have to make a wish for me. And I think that it might be just one big fat wish for all of us. I'm going to stir the cake. And I'm wishing for us all. And okay, now Madeline, if you could just gently, if you could come here and just keep stirring that in, because I want the cherries to be.
Does that mean I give her the wish?
If you want one, darling, you can get one.
I could use all the help I can get.
All right, now you might have seen this. You might have caught glimpses of this thing and wondered what on earth it was.
Yes, we're intrigued.
I'm going to show you, but. Okay, here is my cake tin or pan, whichever. I'm not going to take this out because what we do first of all is, this is a double, I'm using parchment paper. This is double I fold it over. It needs to be above the tin. It's a little bit more above than it necessarily needs to be, but too bad that's the way it is.